My name is Cheryl Asim Ware. My exhibition tonight is attached to my cities and communities requirement. My exhibition is going to be about creative art workshops provided through my STEM programming, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. And one of the challenges that we had within this course was to connect with a local artist. And I was able to connect with an artist that goes by the name of Fillmore Pockets. My product for my art piece is what works of art do I propose and why? So because I am academically strong, I'm always thinking about the curriculum in the interactive piece. And with this course has made me take a step back and actually think about the arts as they're connected to STEM. Some programs call it STEAM, but for me, my program is STEM, but it also has art intertwined within it. And so one of the challenges for this course was to actually connect and highlight art into what I do. So I was able to connect with a local artist. As I said, his name is Fillmore Pockets. And the goal for us is to create a mural. I work for an agency who's been around since the early 80s. So like their logo and their murals are from the 80s. So what I proposed was to partner with Fillmore Pockets to be able to have the kids actually create and decide what it is that they want to see on the walls in programming. And also to add a piece for interactive family workshops. I find with my population, parents are always in a rush to go to the next doctor's appointment or get the kids home to do whatever the next thing is. How do we slow our parents down to be able to interact with their children? Art is a perfect idea for me. 20 minutes to 30 minutes out of their day to have an interactive art piece that they do with a parent or an adult. And also provide basic art instruction. For someone like me who is also academically strong, that I overlook the art piece, so basic techniques and vocabulary. The process. Oh, the process. So this process was challenging for me, as I already shared. Everything for me has been about connecting pieces when it comes to academics. But with this graph, we had to fill in the information and how we was going to receive it, but also share it. The imagination piece, how are you going to be able to collect the information? And then also, what were you going to do with the information as you received it? What research that you would have to do? The action plans that you would have to put into place. So it's a lot of information, but these are the fine details that sometimes we overlook when we're planning. The artist. So I am not the artist. Like I said, I connected with a gentleman who's in his early 30s, and he lives, breathes, and everything is art to him. When I met with him, he actually lives in his art studio, which was interesting. I'm hoping to have him come in and do workshops and let the children ask him questions so they get to actually interact with a real artist. So my goal is for my children who are ages 5 to 13 within my program. But everything for art with a little bit of overseeing from me will be led by the artist, which is Fillmore Pockets. The audience. So the audience for me, it's asking what is the most important group that I want to work with. As far as my audience, for me, honestly, I work with 56 kids in an inner city at-risk program. Those 56 kids are all equally important. My kindergarten kids are no less important than my 7th graders, my 4th graders, my 3rd graders. So this question was pretty easy for me to answer. I think that each and every child is equally important. There's no way to choose a age or a grade. My objective. So my goal was to introduce and to inspire youth's creative ability, provide interactions with local artists who have the knowledge and ability to guide them. I'm finding with the local partnerships and community partnerships that I'm making that these children are not they don't get to interact with the local businessman who also has a trade. So within this class, I have learned to make community partnerships and bring the community into my programming. So everybody is not that necessary stranger that we teach children that they are. And a lot of times with the diverse population that I work with, Jose may learn better from someone who looks like him, talks like him, acts like him. So how do I make my program as diverse as the education that I teach? My vision. So what will my success look like, smell like, sound like, taste like, and feel like? So this was an interesting question for me. My success will look like many youth engaged in art. For me, I like noise and I like a mess. So I would hear laughter, I would hear questions, I would hear debates, I would hear interactions, both with adults and children. Like I said, the sound for me is noise. Loud, the louder the better. It smells. What does the room smell like? So when I think of art, I think of crayons, which means I think of wax, which means paint, which means chalk, which means dust. So it's like oil and paint. And the feeling for hopefully everything that I do attached to my program is excitement. I want the children to be able to touch, taste, mold, and manipulate, as well as learn through anything that they do within my program. My reflection, what have I learned from this experience? I've learned to pay attention to details and think bigger. When you're used to doing something and you've mastered it, it becomes a regular routine for you. And what this course did was challenge me and push me to think about the future. Think about those missing pieces or those little pieces that I didn't feel were important. But how can I inspire and encourage a child if I continue to overlook what art can do? Community partnerships are great supports for growth and collaboration. For education as a whole, it's always about the budget and the bottom line. But I think with my community partnerships, I think that that'll change my bottom line. And hopefully, if I'm partnering with a local business, they'll be able to supply some simple needs that will help with budgeting. Mapping out the community and assess the needs to successfully build relationships. So, like I said, the map that I showed you in slide 3, that was a challenge for me to be able to know that these were the intricate points that I needed to meet. But I'm glad that it did challenge me because now I can look at an entirely different picture. And this course, like I said, is cities and communities, and I'm also taking research methods. So between these two courses together, I was able to be inspired more with my project and actually feel a bigger need to why it needs to happen in the 9 recreation departments in the city of Providence. Thank you.